Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is immigration attorney Moumita. I'm coming to you live to talk to you about immigration and to see the questions that you may have on your mind today. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is attorney Moumita Rahman. I'm based in New York, but I work with immigrants all over the United States. So it doesn't matter to me what state you're in. If you have the type of case that we can help you with, we would love for you to get in touch with us. And today I am going to talk about a very important question. It's a little bit of a different question than you might be used to hearing. But I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to those of you who are married to a US citizen, but you found out that your spouse is actually married to somebody else. So despite the fact that you are an undocumented immigrant, you're here in the US, you're married to a citizen or even to a green card holder, you marry them out of love, you're trying to have a life together with them, but all of a sudden you find out that they are actually married to somebody else. This comes as a shock to you. You don't know what to do. So what are your options if you find out that your spouse is still legally married to somebody else? Let's talk about this because definitely it can really cause you a lot of harm, but there is a way where you can still get the help that you need, even if your spouse, your US citizen spouse, is married to somebody else. So let's talk about two different scenarios. And I will also talk to you about what to do if you find out that your spouse has actually been married multiple times before you. They've been divorced multiple times, but they have lied to you and have only told you about maybe one or two or about none at all. And I'm going to talk to you about what your options are in that case. All right. And here's my number for those of you who need to give us a call because you find yourself in this situation. My phone number is 212-248-7907. I repeat, 212-248-7907. And don't be fooled. There's some people who say that you can contact us on WhatsApp. We don't have WhatsApp and we don't have Telegram. Okay, those guys are scammers. All right. So let's talk about it. What are your options and what can you do if you are an undocumented immigrant and you find out that your US citizen husband or wife is actually married to somebody else? Whether they're married to somebody inside the US or whether they're married outside the US, it doesn't even matter because for immigration, this can hugely impact your case. So let's talk about the two scenarios where you might be doing a process with your spouse and you find out that they're married to somebody else. So what happens if you are actually doing a joint application with your spouse? If you are doing a joint application with your spouse, which would be through the regular marriage adjustment of status application, and you find out that that they're still married to somebody else because maybe you go to your USCIS immigration interview and the officer presents you with evidence that your spouse is actually married to somebody else. Well, if you are doing a joint case, in that instance, then you may no longer be eligible to be classified as a spouse of a US citizen because your marriage is considered to be basically legally void for immigration purposes because your spouse was not actually free to marry you in the first place. But here's the deal. If you are finding out that your spouse is still married to somebody else, and in fact, you never even knew that they were married before or that they've been divorced, if it is coming as a surprise to you, then my guess is that there are other things happening in your relationship because no spouse holds back these important decisions from you unless they have been trying to kind of control you into a situation where you don't really have full information, you don't have full consent when you come into this marriage. And when it happens like this, when you find yourself married to a US citizen or to a green card holder, you don't know about their past marriage history, you don't know about their past criminal history, and you find out that they've had like 10,000 arrests or they have so much debt that they hide from you. The central question is if your spouse is hiding and holding back this sort of information, then usually I find that it's a pattern. It's part of a pattern of many more things happening in your life. And if that is the case, then you may be eligible to file for a VAWA. And if you file for a VAWA and you are going through these sorts of manipulative behaviors from your spouse, lies, and you don't really have full control of your own situation, and your immigration case is actually at jeopardy now because your spouse failed to tell you that they're actually married to somebody else, or that they were married multiple times before, or that they have previous arrests, anything like this, then you may be eligible for VAWA. And if you do find out that your spouse is married to somebody else and you filed for a VAWA, there is actually an exception because you are actually considered a victim at this point. And if your U.S. citizen or green card holding spouse is still legally married to somebody else, you would actually be eligible for something called a intended spouse exception, and you could still file for VAWA at that point. So do give us a call if you find yourself in the situation. 212-248-7907, okay? Now, what to do also if you find out that your spouse has been divorced multiple times. They've been married multiple times before you, but the problem is not that. That's not the problem. The problem is that they lie to you and they don't tell you about this. And you find out because you get an RFE or the officer confronts you with information at the interview about, oh, tell us about your wife's first marriage, or tell us about what's the name of your husband's second wife, and you don't know, and it takes you completely by shock. That is a problem. And if your case gets denied because of these reasons, or you end up getting a challenge to your case, do give us a call at 212-248-7907. All right, guys, that's my spiel. I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. For those of you wondering, I kind of lost my other earring. I only have one on right now. Hello to Mr. Tusk. Omar Jama, Ashwani, hi, how are you? Ashwani is saying, I want to file VAWA. Can I meet you? And where is your office? So Ashwani, my office is located in New York City. I'm located near the World Trade Center in the financial district. And I actually don't do appointments with anyone. To sign up, you actually have to sign up through my team, who you speak to, my intake specialist. But once you do sign up, you can actually make an appointment to come to our office to drop off documents and do fingerprints and things like that. But I am happy to talk to you here, Ashwani. We are real people. We are a real legal team doing very, very important legal work. So Ashwani, I do hope you can give us a call at 212-248-7907 so that we can start that process. How long is it taking to get a receipt when your U.S. citizen spouse files for you? From Omar Llame. Omar, usually it takes about, I think for the regular cases, it's taking about a month to 6 weeks. I think we just filed something and we got the receipt back in about 3 weeks. But you have to give immigration some leeway, because every time they say things to you, like, every time I get questions like, how long will it take for this to be processed? How long will it take to get a receipt? Take everything with a grain of salt, because immigration processing times go up and down. And then for different categories, it can take different time lengths as well. Hello, Gabby. Gabby's saying, I have my first job interview tomorrow and I am so nervous. Gabby, you're going to do great. You're going to do great. Don't even worry. Fear is just in your head. Nervousness is just in your head. Always project that confidence. For those of you who are going, are going through important events like job interviews, immigration interviews, whatever it is, confidence is key, and believe in yourself, Gabby, okay? Good luck to you, and we hope to find out what happens. Let's see. Thank you all for your patience. Can a consular officer be held accountable for refusing a visa with no legal ground? From Johnny. Johnny, I would say, like, if you go for an interview, it depends on what kind of interview you're going for. It depends on whether you are going for a non-immigrant interview or for an immigrant interview. Now, when you're applying for a non-immigrant visa, that includes things like, visit visas, student visas. Those are considered non-immigrant visas. And if they deny you, it depends again on what type of visa, because some visas, they could literally just give one reason, like they believe that you're going to overstay in the U.S. and they can deny you, and that's usually for the visit visa. Other visas, if you get denied, they do need to give a legal ground, and you can sometimes challenge those denials by writing to the visa office headquarters in D.C. It's called LegalNet. Hopefully your attorney knows how to do that. And for immigrant visas, also the same thing. If you get wrongfully denied a visa, like they say that you're not eligible for XYZ, even though legally that's not true, you can, in many cases, appeal that in a way by alerting the visa office and the headquarters in DC of this error of law. However, consular officers do have a wide range of discretion, especially for visit visas, and they can literally deny anyone a visit visa and really kind of get away with that. TPS can take USA independent with his wife from Sanjit. Sanjit, I'm not sure I understand your question. How long is the wait time for a green card in North Carolina from a U.S. citizen husband? From Hortensia. Hortensia, I would say that in North Carolina, probably you're looking at a wait time of less than a year for a green card if you're doing the case with your spouse. What if you file for I-589 and then my daughter files for my green card? Is that a problem? From Donetta 240. Donetta, I don't see that as being a problem. Like, let's say you file for asylum and then you also have a relative who's filing for you. At that point, it just depends on whose case gets approved first. So obviously, if you get approved for asylum, you become an asylee, but you can still get a green card through your daughter. At that point, you have to meet all of the requirements. Let's see. So many questions today. I love it, guys. Keep your questions coming. I have a 10-year green card through my brother, and I have been physically present in the U.S. for 3 years and 3 months. When can I start the process of naturalization? Can I start after 4 years and 6 months? From Sonia. Sonia, you need to be physically present in the U.S. for at least 4 years and 9 months. I would say, to be on the safe side, apply at 5 years. Why rush those 90 days if it can cause you to get rejected for some reason, right? And TikTok, I'm sorry about this weird angle. What if your first marriage visa interview is rejected from Manas? Manas, you can apply again, but you need to address the reason why it was rejected. Would you take cases from out of New York from Esquivel Kevin? Kevin, yes, I have so many clients outside of New York at this point. I would say that maybe only half or less than half of my clients are from New York. But New York, I'm still out here, so don't forget me. I love my New York clients too. But doesn't matter to me where in the U.S. you live. I represent immigration clients all over the U.S. because immigration is a federal law. And as such, I am able to do only immigration cases in from different states. How realistic are the processing times on the USCIS website? Mine says 8 months for a spouse petition from Grill. Grill, I would say más o menos, like sometimes it's kind of like 50-50. Those are kind of average processing times. Remember, there's an upper limit and a lower limit of what that is. So usually I do find that people do fall pretty much in the middle of that, with some exceptions. If I file VAWA in Florida, how long will it take from Anam? Anam, you don't file VAWA in Florida. Actually, all VAWA cases are filed directly with the Vermont Service Center. There is no other place to file for VAWA. They will make a decision and it's their timeline. And then if you're approved for VAWA, then they will forward your case for a green card interview or green card waiver in the state that you live, and that will have that state's timeline. Can you file for VAWA and a regular marriage-based case at the same time? She doesn't want her abusive husband to know from Everblessed. Everblessed, I believe you can. There's no prohibition on it, but essentially, I think that the best case, if you have a case with your spouse, but you want to file for a VAWA because of the issues and the things that you're going through in your marriage, but you don't want your spouse to find out, obviously, it would probably raise a concern or a red flag for your husband or your wife if you say that you don't want to do it anymore. You can still file for a VAWA, and the offices may communicate with each other. They may not. I always say that even if you have a case going on with your spouse, if you've been watching me and you know that you qualify for a VAWA or that you want to try and you're tired of having to keep living on the edge with your spouse, just give us a call. I think it's better to just start it and then see what happens. They're not going to notify your spouse at the interview. They're not going to notify your spouse. They might pull you aside to see what's going on, or they would probably reach out to us. I know that we've had immigration officers reach out to me directly when we notify them that there's a VAWA case pending to see if that's still going on. So ever blessed, I would say don't let that cause you to hesitate. If you qualify for VAWA because, or you want to file for VAWA because your spouse keeps holding your immigration situation over your head, they keep controlling it, they keep saying that they're going to cancel it, they keep telling you that you're just using them for papers, they keep making you feel obligated to do things, to do all the work, to provide physical things, all those things. These are not things that you should have to go through. These are not things that you should be forced to deal with, which is why the law has given you this option. And I would love for you to take it, and I would love to be the one to help you do it as well, okay? So give us a call, Everbless, 212-248-7907. Un residente permanente me puede pedir desde KTCM 86. Si el residente está casado con usted, puede pedir por usted, pero hay muchas cosas que necesitamos ver en su caso para ver si usted, para ver qué tipo de caso que usted cualifique. Puede llamarnos al 212-248-7907. Let's see, I had a question also in Spanish, desde usado cero. Hola, estoy en proceso de remoción y me gustaría saber si califico para ajuste de estatus por VAWA. Desde usado, muchas gracias por su pregunta. Sí, es importante para saber que no importa en cuál paso de inmigración usted está en. Si usted tiene una deportación, está en un caso en corte, o tal vez una remoción. Si usted califique por VAWA, puede tramitar esta aplicación ahora, y en muchos casos es posible para abrir su caso también cuando su VAWA está aprobado, ¿ok? Usado puede llamarnos a 212-248-7907. I become very, very nervous speaking in Spanish. I hope that was understandable. How can we have an appointment with you from Ana Maria Rivero? Ana Maria, you can give us a call at 212-248-7907. You can call, book an appointment for a case evaluation. The case evaluation will be with my legal team, and it will be with my intake specialist. So we do hope to hear from you soon. Again, our telephone number is 212-248-7907. Do you know if studying I can have like a residence from Ana Maria? Ana Maria, just from studying, you can't really get a status. You can, and you're actually supposed to be on a student visa to study. But having a student visa doesn't really give you like a permanent residence, but you have to see what else you qualify for. Let's see. I also had one more thing. Are you considered to have legal status with just the I-360 approved from Gabby? Gabby, yes. If you have your I-360 VAWA application approved, then you're considered to be a VAWA, approved for VAWA. You're considered to be a VAWA, have VAWA as your status. So, and also once your VAWA is approved, you also receive a new work permit. It is in the category of C31, which is also proof that you're in that status right there. What are the questions, potential questions that they ask you during a VAWA green card interview? Hello, Anbu, nice to see you. Moses, from Moses Arthur, what are the possible questions to be asked during the VAWA green card interview? So here's the thing. I am happy to say that a lot of my VAWA clients have actually been approved without for their green card without a green card interview, because in many states, they're deciding to waive the interview. And that's definitely been happening a lot here in New York for my New York clients. Obviously, if you have like a criminal issue or if you have like a permanent bar issue that we need to take care of, then they may not waive the interview. But if you get an interview for your VAWA, number one, they are not allowed to ask you about the abuse or about what you have gone through in your marriage unless you are trying to make a permanent bar connection to get a waiver of your permanent bar. Then you will have to explain a little bit about why you left or why you came back or why you got deported and how that was connected to the abuse that you went through. Also, if you are asking for a waiver for misrepresentation or fraud or a criminal matter, then you may be asked a few questions about hardship, but that's really about it. But otherwise, your green card interview would actually be very, very straightforward, just maybe confirming identification history, address history, previous marriages, things like that. So usually it's meant to be very straightforward, but as I said, a lot of the good news is that they have been waiving a lot of those interviews. Now, if your interview does not get waived, please don't call me and say what happened, because immigration always retains the discretion to waive an interview or not. What does it mean that your I-45 case is actively being reviewed from Veronica? Veronica, it just literally means that your case has been passed off to the field office. So a lot of you will be checking your status online and trying to see what it says. And the minute you see that your case is ready to be scheduled for an interview or that it's being actively reviewed, you jump up and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? But it doesn't mean much because your case still has to go through the line of all the cases that the field office is looking through, and that can take many, many months. So it just means that your case is in line to be reviewed, and probably you will get an interview notice at some point soon. Tolu Ayaji says, waiting for you to answer my question. Good day. My wife and I have been married for 2 years now with a baby girl, just hoping to meet them. What can we do? Tolu, thank you for your question. I'm not too sure what you can do. If you want to expedite, you can ask for an expedite if you are suffering from some sort of emergency in your case, or if you have an urgent humanitarian reason to be reunited, you can ask for NVC or the embassy to expedite your case. I do have a video about how you can expedite your case, or some ways that you can do it. So I suggest that you check that out if you can. What can we do for the I-601A increasing wait times? It's ridiculous. 2.5 years in already from Alexandra Vasiliadis. Alexandra, I know the wait times are increasing. They go up and down. And if you're doing the I-601A waiver, you're going to have more of a wait too, because once it's approved, then you still have to wait for your appointment at the embassy. Not much that you can do. But again, anytime that you feel that your case is taking way too long and you are suffering some sort of an emergency, you can always write to USCIS to ask them to expedite your case. You can ask them to expedite your case, but you need to show proof of some urgent humanitarian reason. You have to show proof of some sort of emergency and good reason why your case should be expedited. So good luck to you, okay? For a lawyer to do a waiver, is it expensive? From Rocio Salazar. Rocio, so again, talking about waivers, every lawyer's prices are different. Some lawyers charge very little, some lawyers charge a lot. But I would say, when it comes to immigration, what you pay for is what you sometimes get. And if the price is too low, then I would be very careful. Obviously, you should not be paying, I don't know, if you're paying $50,000 for a waiver, that's definitely way too much. But these do take a lot of work. They do take a lot of time. So my advice to you is, when evaluating the price of a lawyer, look at everything. Don't just look at the price. Look at how the lawyer talks to you. Look at how their team talks to you. Look at, their form of communication. Look at how well they explain things to you. Do they lay things out? Do they answer your questions? Because really, the price that you pay for, at least in my office, is not just the actual work. It's for everything. It's for years of work and questions and processes and emergencies. Any updated and asylum applications? Interview is pending since 2016. So no updates whatsoever on asylum applications. They're just going, either you get scheduled now or you have to wait years. And this is a throwback to the last in, first out rule that was started underneath the Trump administration. It really, really messed things up. So people who are waiting, who filed their cases before 2016 are probably still waiting for their interviews and are probably still going to wait even a longer time. And people who are filing now are sometimes getting their interview even faster. How long does it take to prepare a VAWA case to submit to the USCIS? From Lisa Ansari. Lisa Ansari, at least in my office, it could take anywhere from like several months to up to 6 months, because we're very careful about the way that we do our cases. We don't like for it to take so long, but we also don't want to do a rush job and submit a bad product. So it's really different. I know some offices, maybe sometimes some lawyers can submit it in a couple of weeks. But a good VAWA case is going to have a very strong, good, detailed affidavit. Sometimes that's the longest part. We want to submit as much evidence as we can. Sometimes, even though that in a VAWA case, they can accept any level of evidence, it's always good to try to back up your case wherever it's possible, and then final checks and all those things. So all of that should be taken into account. From Sabir Chaudhary, I want to know, I'm separated from my wife and my wife is holding all of my documents. I'm here for almost 7 years and I can't apply for my citizenship. So what should I do for my citizenship? From Sabir. Sabir, thank you for your question. And I am assuming that you don't have a green card because you want to apply for your citizenship. But if you're a green card holder and your spouse is holding your documents, you can still get copies of your documents by requesting from the government. And then you should still be able to go ahead and file for your citizenship. But Sabir, if you do not even have a green card, if you don't even have a green card and your spouse is holding your documents and they're hiding things from you, they're hiding the paperwork from you so that you can't even apply, or you file your application with your spouse and they hide the letters, they hide the request for evidence. All of these things have happened to people. All of these things have happened to my clients. And the way that we help my clients move forward in their lives and get the green card, get the work permit, get the travel document, get the things that they need to be secure in their immigration status in the US is to help them file for VAWA. And it does not matter if your spouse is hiding your documents. There are always ways to get things. There are always ways to ask immigration to verify your status. So Sabir, I would say give us a call. 212-248-7907. If you've been here for 7 years and you still don't have a green card, it is time to take action, okay? And let us be the ones to help you. Nirmit Shalat is saying, how many days after USCIS, how many days does USCIS take to make a decision on an RFE response? From Nirmit, what I see is that normally they will take usually about, I would say, 3 to 6 months, anywhere in between, to give a decision on an RFE. This is probably the most important part of the case, where you really want to make sure the RFE response is on point and it's detailed. And you want to respond with, if you get an RFE in immigration, you really want to take time to really make sure you answer all the questions and show all the evidence to show why you should be approved. Okay, Nirmit? Sacho está preguntando cuánto está tardando OBIM FOIA para una respuesta. Tacho, pienso que el FOIA de OBIM es por sus huellas y una foto. Va a tardar más o menos 3 meses, pero en muchos casos va a tardar más tiempo, es normal, ¿sí? Con inmigración siempre tardar mucho tiempo. My spouse has a 2-year conditional green card. Can I revoke if I find out that he didn't marry me for love? From E. Gideon. Gideon, thank you for this question. Now, I want to address this because I get a lot of comments on my videos and my posts about, oh, my spouse just married me to get a green card. And here's what I have to say. Here's what I have to say to that. So first of all, no one deserves to be used. No one deserves to be hurt. I fully believe that. Please don't think that just because I talk about VAWA for immigrants that I believe that, U.S. citizens deserve to get hurt. I'm never saying that. But what I see sometimes is that a lot of people who have U.S. citizenship believe that because they helped their spouse get a green card, somehow that spouse owes them something, right? And the common phrase, there's three sides to the story, right? He said, she said, and the truth, or he said, she said, whatever it is, unless your spouse is unless you are entering into a transaction to take money from your immigrant spouse to help them get a green card, then it's a real marriage, right? Relationships don't always work out. And, just because you guys might fall out of love or it might not work out doesn't mean that the person used you for a green card. It just means that the relationship didn't work out. And I actually find it very unfair to when I hear people say, oh, can I revoke their green card? Why? Why would you want to revoke their green card? Because you're so bitter? I think, you have to be careful about that. You have to be careful about knowing how much power you can wield over someone's life. And that's why I do VAWA cases. So you can't revoke your spouse's green card. That's immigration's job to find out if it was a fake marriage or not. And, the bad news for you is that if you want to revoke, your spouse's green card, immigration may also ask you, well, what did you get in return? So you want to be careful about that, Gideon, okay? But I do wish you the best of luck. I'm a wife on H1. Can I apply for VAWA because he abused me on H1B from Anzu Lopez? So this is a good question. If you are here on an H2, H3 or H4 visa because your spouse is an H1B, can you apply for a VAWA? So the answer is no, you cannot apply for VAWA. However, if you are the spouse of an H1B visa holder and your spouse is abusing you, or hurting you emotionally or physically, then you can qualify for something called the I-765V, which would help you get a work permit by yourself. And we can talk to see if you maybe also qualify for something called a T visa, which can happen in a marriage as well. I would be happy to talk to you. Andrew, you can give us a call at 212-248-7907. All right, everyone, that's all the time that I have. Oh, I'm gonna answer one more question from Mike Jimenez. Tengo récord de violencia doméstica y denegar ID me afecta para parole en place. Mike Jimenez, sí, creo que sí. Cargas de violencia doméstica están muy serioso. Y necesita para ver qué sucedió y necesita para ver si va a afectar su caso, pero en muchos casos una convicción de violencia doméstica probablemente va a afectar usted. One more question from Niedermeet. Sorry. Can I marry if my I-360 is approved, but my I-485 is pending? From Niedermeet. Yes, you can. So if you're filing for VAWA, you have one major restriction, and that is you cannot get married before your VAWA I-360 is approved. But once it's approved, you're free to get married again. I would say, though, if you're able to wait even after the I-485 is approved, then why not wait if you can? But every case, you want to talk to your lawyer before making a major life decision like that. All right, everyone, have a great night. Thank you for joining. And if you have found my videos helpful, please do share them and share them with somebody you care about or you want to help out. Okay, take care.